All right, welcome back to the Rambling Boat Guy. It's a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. A little cold this morning, but it'll warm up quick with all the sunshine we're having. I'm going to pan around here and get to the main point, which is the boat. This is going to be a little bit of a jerky one today, due to the fact that I need to make all this in one swoop because I don't know how to combine them. Here's the woodwork I've been working on. I am happy with this coat. It turned out to be a viscosity issue. I think. I don't really know why I got a good coat, but after 2 or 3 tries to get a final coat, this is either the second or third try to get a final coat, I did succeed and get a final coat on the exterior woodwork that I'm happy with. It's about 90-95% good. I'm going to ramble on a little bit about percentages because when you're doing these restorations, a lot of people get hyped up on, everything's got to be perfect. I used to tell my customers if they wanted the boat really nice, I could get it to 90%, which nobody but an expert would know that. Relatively reasonable. If they wanted to win boat shows, they needed that 100%. It'd be about 2/3 more to get that last 10%, and that always shocked them how much more that level of detail would cost. So these are not perfect, but this boat's going to look really nice. Now we're going to get to why I'm here. This boat has opening bronze windows, which is one of the reasons I like it. It lets air into the cabin. They last forever. But they do need maintenance, so today we're going to be working on the opening bronze windows, which were leaking. They were leaking in their main seal. In other words, not the seal that seals the bronze opening portion to the frame, but they were leaking from the boat into the cabin, and their main frames were leaking on the side of the hull, or the side of the cabin, I guess what I'm trying to tell you. I've got them tore apart. 2 of them done when I decided, hey, somebody might want to know how to do this. Notice the markings on them. If you're going to take these things apart, make sure that they go back together the same way. So that these, you're not trying to put the window from one onto the other. You think that they're all the same, and they're not. They kind of need to go back the way they came. So that being said, mark everything. Mark everything. Mark your woodwork. Mark everything. I never take a boat apart. I don't mark everything I take off of it. Saves so much trouble later. So this is the victim. This is one of the ones I haven't done. It's a port rear. That's the seal we're replacing. To me, it looks like it was a poured seal. I'm not sure what it's made out of. It's very dry. No longer capable of doing its job, even though I don't believe they were leaking. I don't believe they were opened very often. If you started to open and close them, they definitely would have been leaking. But I do think they were leaking this main frame into the hull. At least one of them, I'm sure, was leaking. You can see the remainder of the bedding compounds and stuff on the back side of this frame. So I'm going to put this over somewhere where you can see what I'm going to do. And we're going to start this process. I will ramble on as I go so that you know what's going on. But right now we're going to separate the bronze opening portion from the main frame. We're going to do that with a hammer and a pin. The hammer's here. Pins here. We're going to drive these bronze pins out of the window frame. This one's moving very easily. Some of them did not. Let's spin this around. I hope you get this. I will have to find out like you do when I look at the video later. But I'm going to drive this pin out. Getting them to move can be challenging. That first one came out very easily. This one's just now starting to move. It's not so easy. Some of these were at a somewhat strange angle. And that's why they won't fit interchangeably. This is taking quite a bit of force. Drive that pin out. This is another one that's driven in at an upward angle. And that did it. We've got the window apart. I'm going to find that other pin. That is. I put it back in the frame where it goes. Putting that one in there, and that one in there. Check and see if you can still see what's going on. You can. All right. Now, you got to get this caulk out of there. Now, I played around with it using my favorite chisels, Stanley Everlast, which fits right in there nice. I've talked about that. I was trying to chisel this out. It was a laborious process. I started thinking, okay, what do I have around here that's going to get this out of here? And I came up with this little jewel. This is a Ryobi patent pending wood carving unit. I never got much use out of it carving wood. But I've used it for various other weird things. My daughters use it all the time for carving pumpkins. But it happens to be the tool for the job. I'm getting this out. I'm going to turn this window out a little bit. And unfortunately, I'm either going to have to turn this off once I show you how this thing works, put it on the number 1 setting, which is slower setting, and I'm going to just start not caulking at it. Man, does this thing save time. Hopefully you can hear this. That's all that dried caulking. Now I'm down to the good stuff. And it cuts that away nice and easily too. Keep cutting out of here. It's a weak enough tool that it's not digging into my blade. It does take a little bit of effort to keep it from doing that. I hope you can hear this. Anyway, I'm going to set this window down flat because that's really the way it needs to be. That's how I'm making caulking out of this thing. Now, hopefully you heard over the tool what I was saying, but it was cutting out nicely. Then I take the chisel. I'm only doing a small section of this so that you can see how it's done. And I reach in there and it cleans out the rest of it. Need that straight edge. Some people are probably crying when they see me using this beautiful ancient chisel in such a terrible manner, but tools are made to be used. And I'll sharpen it up again for wood, but right now I need something that does my job, and this is it. But fortunately for me, that wood carving unit did the work. So I've got about 80% of that out of there cleaned. If you look right here, that's the little screw that holds this frame. that sucks onto the glass. I'm not going to disassemble this window completely. I don't believe that that seal is leaking. And even if it does, when I replace this seal, it won't be able to get anywhere. At least that's my hope. So that's what it looks like when it's cleaned out. Now, the final thing I'm going to do with this window, because I want my seal to sit in there really nicely, I'm going to take and use this. This is a nasty grinding wheel for a 4.5-inch grinder. These things are just terribly dangerous, people. And that 4.5-inch grinder, just for people's information, is the most dangerous electric hand tool I have in the barn here. It'll hurt you bad, it'll hurt you quick, it'll hurt you in a variety of ways. If you're unfamiliar with it, don't use it. If you're familiar with it, be real careful. They're nasty. But what I'm doing with this is this just happens to fit right in that groove. So then I run that back and forth by hand and get out the last of the caulk. So I have a real nice clean surface to put my new caulk on in there. I would never think about running this tool on the machine. It's totally uncontrollable in a groove like that. Be massively dangerous. So that's why I'm doing it by hand, and it works perfectly fine. I'm just using the aggressiveness of the wire brush and the fact that it fits into my groove. So then I'm going to go take this and get rid of it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the old caulk out of this one here on the outside. So these are ready to go down. I'm going to cut that away. Now this is silicone, very easy. They do use butyl rubber, I guess that was a slip. Would not have been near as easy. So then I'm going to clear these whole ports away. Then I'm going to use the aforementioned nasty tool. I'm not going to show you using this, but I'm going to clean this up with a wire brush to get a nice, good, clean surface for my new caulk. I'll show you one that's been done. These things will sling the wires off. They can hurt you that way. They'll grab your clothes and wrap you up in it. They'll hurt you that way. They'll cut you worse than a table saw or an electric saw will. Just terribly nasty tools. Please be very careful. If you're not familiar with them, just don't use them. All right. So this is the one that I cleaned up, that seal. Now this is the seal that actually waterproofs the port into the cabin side. So I wanted it nice and clean. I cleaned up the seal on the front. This is the portion of the bronze that actually seals into that window track. It's hinged here and here. So I wanted that clean. I'm not going to polish these. It's just more effort than I'm interested in, and in a saltwater environment I have out here, they won't stay that way. So I'm just cleaning them up where they seal. And that's about it for the port lights. I will say real quick, I'm thinking of putting a caulk in here and letting it dry. It's called Geocell 4500 roof. It's kind of like a land version of 4500 or 4200. Not as tough as 5200, but tougher than 4200, I think. I'm going to fill that flush is what I'm thinking, but also I've located the 3/8 seal that fits in the more modern windows. This was a poured seal. I don't know who built these ports. I have not found maker's marks on these ports. The bronze is really high quality. You know, the portlight seems to be very high quality, which is not surprising because of the manufacturer. But I am a little surprised that I cannot find a maker's mark on these portlights. I don't know who made the portlights for the nimble. Here, real quick, I'm going to show you something about why I number these. If you look at this one, it's at a different angle than this one. Okay, so these were probably, near as I can figure, not cast, but actually hand drilled in the frame. So each one is going to be separate to itself. So this window has to go with the frame that it came apart, because these are never going to find their way into another frame. Just won't happen. You'll probably break things trying. So make sure if you take these windows apart that you mark them. And that's about it for now. Hope this turns out. Hope you can hear me. Again, this little Ryobi, nice little machine for a lot of things. It's very non-aggressive, which it doesn't even work till you put pressure on it. Safer tool to work with. It's really doing the number at getting these things out, saving me hours. That's it.